Blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We do want to remind you that we'll have the latest concerning the Kavanaugh hearing and investigation. And get your thoughts on this at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. It's amazing to me that now all of a sudden you have Chuck Schumer and others saying that he's a partisan. Well, when you malign someone, when you slander someone, and they fight back, of course you're going to get some partisanship. If Brett Kavanaugh did not fight back, he would not be who we want him to be. Here's the very latest from Rachel Sutherland.
Senate Democrats want 24 people interviewed in an expanded FBI probe into allegations against Judge Kavanaugh. Democrat Richard Blumenthal sits on the Judiciary Committee.
Anything short of a full, fair investigation will be a sham.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is vowing that Republicans will start voting on Judge Kavanaugh this week.
This is a nomination that deserves to move forward, and that is precisely, Mr. President, what is happening.
The FBI has questioned at least 4 people about the accusations against Kavanaugh. In Washington, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
And we'll have much more on that coming up. Joining us now from Idaho Chooses Life, our great friend, the Ripper, David Ripley. Good morning, sir.
How are you, brother?
Still employed, as we like to say here in the broadcast business. And you?
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing for America. You know that you're still on the air. We need you.
Well, thank you very much, brother. Let's talk a little bit about the latest concerning the pro-life movement. We used to have national groups already looking to challenge Idaho's newly passed abortion law, pro-life law, the Fight for Life law that just passed last session.
Well, I'm disappointed, but I'm not shocked. I mean, that bill is actually is a reporting bill on complications that women and girls might deal with after an abortion, and I'm glad to say that we got that bill done, and the governor signed it this last session. Planned Parenthood fought us, of course, but I was a little surprised that they actually took to the courts because, in fact, it has little to do with them, and it has nothing to do with the abortion procedure itself. That law only applies to hospitals and healthcare providers who have to file a statistical report with the Department of Health and Welfare if they are treating a woman or a girl who has some complication arising from an abortion. And the state of Idaho has a fundamental duty to protect the health and welfare of its citizens. And part of that requires having good, solid information about the health threats associated with medical procedures. Right now, the only information we get comes to us from Planned Parenthood. And what's really going on in this lawsuit, in my opinion, is they are scared to death that their monopoly over the information in the public square is being threatened. We will have, for the first time since Roe, a comprehensive look at what happens to a woman, whether from psychological consequences, various health risks, whether they're immediate or midterm. We will have an accurate picture to be able to share with women in the future as they consider an abortion.
David Ripley joining us from Idaho Chooses Life. Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDO Talk Radio. Why would people fear more information?
The abortion industry fears more information. You know, they continue to pretend they are advocates for women, but the fact is, I believe they want to keep women in the dark as to the consequences, both emotional, spiritual, and physical, that arise from an abortion decision. And right now they're in charge of the information. Virtually everything we think we know about abortion comes to us from Planned Parenthood. And I believe that this is such a vital health and public policy question that the state of Idaho needs to know with an independent and unprejudiced eye whether or not this is as safe as they purport it to be.
Well, obviously that would be good. How goes the fight as we get ready for the upcoming legislative session?
We did have a hearing on the 17th in front of Idaho's new federal judge, David Nye. was appointed by President Trump, and I'm encouraged by the fact that he is taking his time to review the case and to sift through the arguments. And as yet, that law is actually in effect as we speak. He has yet to give Planned Parenthood their demand for an injunction.
When do you think that'll be decided?
I suspect, it'll be another week or two, but I'm hopeful that we may win.
Well, there's always the Ninth Circuit looming. How does that play into everything?
Well, that, of course, is a problem, for every pro-life law we pass here. But we do, if in fact we can win at the district court level, that gives us some real momentum. And to be honest with you, it seems unlikely to me that ultimately the courts will rule that the state of Idaho does not have a right to collect anonymous statistical information about a health care procedure.
What is the argument against it from Planned Parenthood?
Well, they have actually fabricated a bunch. There's been some very strange news stories going on around the state over the last couple weeks to a month, one of which is trying to scare women into believing that their anonymity is going to be threatened. And the fact of the matter is that there's probably 3 pages of that bill we passed that protects the anonymity of women, because in fact there are federal and state laws relating to health care information. And the state of Idaho is requiring statistical information that has nothing to do with the woman's identity. But they're trying to fabricate a case and some public opinion pushback, which apparently is working to some extent in Eastern Idaho at least. And the fact is, during the legislative session, they argued that the law was unnecessary because they were already complying with the act. But the fact is they provide very, very little information to the state of Idaho as to complications. And in fact, they don't even treat complications for the most part. Planned Parenthood does the abortion, and they send those women to emergency rooms, to doctors, to clean up the mess that they've created.
David Ripley joining us, 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. So what else is going on? Are we getting ready for the Life Chain?
Yes, indeed. We have Life Chain Sunday coming up on the 7th, this next Sunday. And we are sponsoring Life Chain here in the Treasure Valley, which will be one of about 1,700 Life Chains going on across the entire country that same day. It's quite an amazing event, and we see wonderful things happen. We've actually saved women from choosing an abortion through that couple of hours that we're out there praying and witnessing and arguing with our neighbors about the fact that we need to protect life.
David Ripley joining us, a man that has been involved in the life movement in Idaho politics in a nonpartisan way for years. So we've got a governor's race coming up. What are the choices?
Well, the choices for us are pretty stark. In fact, I heard you talking earlier today, and of course we've all been talking and watching this Kavanaugh decision. I know the Democrat nominee, Paulette Jordan, pretty well. She served in the House on the House State Affairs Committee for 4 years. So she had a chance to vote on our legislation a number of times and developed a perfect voting record against life. And both in committee and on the House floor, opposed every bill that we brought during those 4 years, including voting against a woman's right to know legislation. I've seen interviews where she's claiming to be personally pro-life but politically pro-choice. But just a couple of days ago, she, in talking about the Kavanaugh nomination, declared that nomination to be an attack on women. And I find that to be horrifying in a way that she would view a conservative on the United States Supreme Court in such stark, drastic, and false way. And I think that gives you some insight into what an ideological person she is and how committed she is to the pro-abortion agenda.
What about the Lieutenant Governor, Brad Little?
Well, the fact is, I've gotten to know him quite better in the last, through this gubernatorial campaign, and I've come to have some real regard for him. I think he is a sincere pro-life person, and I am looking forward to working with him in the next 4 and 8 years.
Well, he'll have tough shoes to fill, whether you like Governor Otter or not. There is nothing that anybody could ever say to question his commitment to being a pro-life governor.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a lot of change coming in the State House, in the legislature, of course, in the executive branch. And the fact is, Butch Otter is going to leave behind a legacy that's going to be very difficult for anybody to ever beat. He signed more pro-life bills into law than any governor in history. But I believe that, during that whole period of time, Brad Little was lieutenant governor and was very supportive of that work by Governor Otter. And I think we have begun to build a relationship that I think is going to bear a lot of fruit in the future.
David Ripley joining us here on KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Idaho Chooses Life. So, without getting too into the weeds, were you surprised how the gubernatorial primary turned out?
Well, I think it was very difficult to call when you had 3 formidable candidates, which, I don't remember in the time I've been doing politics in the state, which goes back to 84, I guess. I don't recall ever seeing that kind of dynamic and that kind of robust debate, and with 3 very strong persons that ran, great campaigns, were well financed, that were well known across the state. And I think the lieutenant governor earned his victory. I think the fact is he earned it the old-fashioned way by working hard. I mean, he was a tireless campaigner, and I think he's due a lot of respect for that victory.
David, I was just going to say it's just fascinating. It was such a hard-fought race. I think we'll be talking about that race for years. Anything else you'd like to share if people want information about how they can participate in the Life Chain and plus the annual Christmas banquet? What can you? We'll have you on many times before that.
Well, I appreciate that. So we're going to be meeting at the Boise Mall this Sunday afternoon. It's from 2 to 4. Doesn't cost anything. All it takes is a little bit of your time to take a stand for, those babies that can't defend themselves. And we'll have refreshments and signs available. And I would just urge people to, most of your listeners are pro-life people. They're fine people and, the salt of the earth. But it also is the case that many of us actually hold those convictions but don't necessarily do anything about it, as years go by. And I would just challenge people to do a little inventory on what they've done to defend the innocent, in the last year, let's say. And this is a great opportunity that just takes a little bit of time to join your neighbors and join with us to take a stand and defend those who need a voice.
David Ripley, we always appreciate your voice for life. Thank you very much. Your website, please.
IdahoChoosesLife.org.
Fair enough.
I just want you to know how much we appreciate you, Kevin.
We love you, David Ripley. You take care.
Yeah, bless you, man.
God bless you. Our great friend, the Ripper, David Ripley, joining us here. The Life Chain coming up this Sunday, how you can get involved from 2 to 4 at the Boise Town Square Mall. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. If you missed it yesterday, Sean Hannity had a little of these clips. The president, I don't want to say unhinged, unleashed, but certainly uncensored at a news conference.
How about Blumenthal? Da Nang Blumenthal. We call him Da Nang Blumenthal. For 15 years as the Attorney General of Connecticut, he went around telling war stories. People dying left and right, but my platoon marched forward. He was never in Vietnam. It was a lie.
Isn't it time to end this hypocrisy? We'll talk about it next. We'd love to hear from you as well. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio.
Go ahead. Now you can go.
Should Brett Kavanaugh be interviewed by the FBI?
I think so. I think it's fine if they do. I don't know. That's up to them. I think that he spoke very conclusively and very well. I think it's been a very rough period of time. I guarantee he's never had a period of time like this. When he was chosen, everybody said, oh, this is going to go so quickly. Look, people thought 10 years ago that Brett Kavanaugh was going to be a Supreme Court justice because of his intellect, because of his career, because of the fact that there are no games. You know, now they talk about alcohol. They talk about all of the things that you hear. And frankly, you take a look at, they're bringing up subjects. We would know about this over the last 20 years, 30 years of his career. You know, what happened? They're going back to high school, and they're saying he drank a lot one evening in high school. I tell you what, I happen to know some United States senators. One who is on the other side, who's pretty aggressive. I've seen that person in very bad situations. Okay? I've seen that person in very, very bad situations, somewhat compromising. And, I think it's very unfair to bring up things like this. However, whatever the senators want is okay with me. They're going to be making a decision. Whatever they want is okay with me. Go ahead. That's enough, Peter. Go, please.
And there we have it, the president holding his news conference yesterday. And you notice it got lost on the fact that the president of the United States just signs this historic deal, gets rid of NAFTA, allows American dairy to go into Canada. That was a big concession by the Canadians, and yet it's all Kavanaugh all the time. And I like this. Let's just start naming names. Okay, first of all, Kavanaugh was a bad person. He did this act allegedly with on Dr. Ford. Then it was somebody else. Then it was Ramirez. Then it was Swetnick. Now 20 more people need to testify. They keep moving the goalposts. And if you heard Chuck Schumer say, well, he can't be trusted to be impartial, you're telling me that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Elena Kagan, Sotomayor, that said, quote, a wise Latina is smarter than an old white man, paraphrasing here, was not a partisan? Right? Traffic and weather together. Our time is 6:27.
Larry Gebert.
And Larry, thank you very much. So Judith Swetnick last night was on NBC. We'll get to that. But really, have we ever seen anybody since Clarence Thomas, even after Thomas, be so maligned as Brett Kavanaugh? And what do we know right now? Apparently the FBI continues to interview folks like Mark Judd and others. But really, what does the media want? What do the Democrats want? Well, they want to end this man's career. They want to send a message to everyone that if you get involved in politics, if you get involved in any type of politics as a conservative, as a Republican, and you're not like Jeff McFlake, you're going to lose. And by the way, what do these guys do at night? I don't know what Dianne Feinstein does at night. I'm sure Patrick Leahy gets in his, jammies. Like the old-time jammies that they have, not with the pants, but kind of like the skirt that men used to wear back in the early 1900s. Maybe he has a little cap, a little, a sleeping cap that he wears like we used to see in the Ichabod Crane movies. Can you just see that, Patrick Leahy doing that?
When I won, I said, the good thing is now the press finally gets it. Now they'll finally treat me fairly. They got worse. They're worse now than ever. Yeah. They're loco, but that's okay. I put up with it.
How dare he say loco? And then the president had to clarify that he said that because it was the Mexican-Canadian-American trade agreement. But he's right. The press has gotten worse. Remember election night where they said the peso was going down, markets were crashing? Look at the American markets now. Coming up, a live report from Fox News, and your calls next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Kevin.
And coming up, the state of California is getting a lawsuit filed by the Trump administration after it passes the country's toughest net neutrality law. We'll talk to Tanya J. Powers of Fox News Radio coming up very briefly, and then we'll get to Scott in Caldwell and Liberty Linda. By the way, it is almost turkey time again, and if you're new to the Treasure Valley, we ask you to give a turkey, not be a turkey, and that's right. Once a year, we go to the Walmart. Well, twice a year, but once a year we go to the Walmart at Garrity Boulevard and Franklin Road, Franklin Boulevard, Garrity Road. Take your pick, and we live at the Walmart, thanks to our friends at Camping World, the Boise Rescue Mission, Team Mazda Subaru, and we collect your turkeys and your non-perishable food items, your clothes, and just about everything to help our friends at the Boise Rescue Mission. Miller's Mission, that is the week before Thanksgiving. I think that's the 12th through the 17th in November, where we once again live at the Walmart. We look forward to helping so many Treasure Valley families. Won't you join us in making a difference in their lives? We go live to New York. Tanya J. Powers joins us now from Fox News Radio. Good morning.
Good morning.
So here we have the Trump administration is suing the state of California after it passes the country's toughest net neutrality law. For most of us, what is net neutrality anyway? I mean, we hear this buzzword all the time. It was big during the Obama administration. What is this net neutrality?
Well, okay, what this is it was, anyway, a rule, excuse me, that comes from the Obama era. And basically it prevented Internet companies from having more control over what you watch and see on the Internet. It kept Internet service providers from being able to block certain content that you wouldn't see or slow down websites so they don't load as fast. Because what happens when you click on a link and the website takes forever to load? Do you sit there and patiently wait for it, or do you go on to the next site?
Uh-huh.
Exactly. See, so if a website is being slowed down, chances are a lot fewer people are going to actually wait to look at it than something that isn't being slowed down. And, you know, if you have Internet service providers paying more for, you know, or charging people more and saying, well, you know, we can get your site to load faster if you know, it'll only cost you, you know, whatever. That's part of the thing that they were trying to make it a level playing field for everybody for what they saw and, you know, experienced on the Internet. And California, when this was repealed by the FCC last year, California they started drafting this, you know, their own net neutrality law, which definitely got the attention from the DOJ. And when Jerry Brown, the governor of California, signed this on Sunday, it didn't take the DOJ but a few hours to answer it with a lawsuit saying, no, you don't get to control internet commerce and things like that. We do. So that's the thing that's at issue here. Now, California is not the only state that has done something like this, but they're the ones with the furthest reaching law on it. Oregon, Washington State, and Vermont have already approved some net neutrality laws, but they're not as sweeping as California's. And New York actually has an identical bill to California's in the pipeline. It hasn't been okayed yet, but I'm sure they're watching to see how this one plays out with the DOJ and the state of California.
I'll be anxious to see if the feds go after Oregon, Washington, and Vermont.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly the ins and outs of their bill, so I don't know how much less it has in, you know, like teeth-wise. I don't know if it has, you know, less of an effect. Apparently, you know, California's was just like a bridge too far, and they said, no, we're gonna sue you over this. But it's one of those things we'll be watching.
Yeah, maybe it's a stretch, but it seems to be different than the attitude of the previous administration, where you had states doing their own thing, most notably marijuana laws, and the feds not doing anything about it. Maybe it's a stretch.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could kind of compare the two. I mean, with net neutrality, it's kind of a, like I said, it's sort of a sticking point because you've got, you know, you keep the internet out of, from being controlled by the internet service providers any more than they already do. You see what I'm saying? At least that's the way that, the way that I get all of this, because you say net neutrality and people's eyes start to glaze over. And I think when this fight was really going on in the last several months and people were being urged to contact their representatives and say, no, vote against repealing this, I think a lot of people didn't quite understand what net neutrality was in the first place.
Well, that's why we have you, our net neutrality expert.
Well, of course, yes. I'm just going to embrace that.
I'm glad
so
you've embraced that.
Are you living at the Walmart yet?
That'll be the week before Thanksgiving.
Week before Thanksgiving. Okay, because I know this is always a big deal. We talk about it, and every year you go out there, and I just think this is the coolest thing.
Well, we ask you to give a turkey, not be a turkey.
I like that. Wait a minute. This is where you dress up in the turkey outfit, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there going to be like a live stream of this or something? Because I'm on board with that.
We will do a live Facebook, and we'll let you know so you can. I don't know what it is, but there are many people that get excited to see me dressed up as the turkey outfit. Maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but
I'm puzzled. I can't understand why anybody would be excited about seeing it. I'm just hoping that
I agree with you on that personally.
There's lots of pictures and video, and I'll be watching the Facebook live stream for this. I think it's a great cause. So I love that you do this every year. So it's pretty exciting.
Until you get into the outfit, yes, ma'am.
Well, it's you in the outfit, not me. So
yes, exactly. Well, Tanya J. Powers, you have a great day, and we'll have that live stream just for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Scott in Caldwell, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Scott, thanks for your patience.
No, thank you, sir. Hey, I was wondering what you would think if they take Kavanaugh down. What would you think if Trump gave the nod to Judge Jeanine Pirro?
I think we would be. I'm just saying. I think I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at just the look of the faces on Blumenthal, Feinstein, Leahy, and others.
Because in 50 years of my life, I have never known a Democrat that was not partisan.
Right.
It's just the way things are.
Well, and the Republicans keep trying to play nicey nice. The fact that they did not go after Kagan, Sotomayor, or Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Bader Ginsburg, I guess you could say, is a different era, but Sotomayor and Kagan they don't have the judicial background that Alito, Roberts, and certainly Kavanaugh have, and yet they gave them a pass with 90 votes. It goes back to that movie, Scott, if you've ever seen The Untouchables, where Sean Connery is trying to teach Kevin Costner how to deal with the mob.
Sure.
I mean, that's really what it is. You don't bring a knife to a gunfight. And we bring...
That's exactly how it is.
Yeah, and we bring, plastic spoons.
Year after year after year after year. So I know you've got listeners that span the country, and I just thought, I wonder if Kevin's talked about this, and I thought there was a good chance that you already had. But if you hadn't, I thought it'd be good to see her step in the ring. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
580-5436, 580-KIDO. Well, who is this? It's Liberty Lind on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
In the morning, too. First of all, you're the best, Kevin. And anyway, I think we should go door to door across the United States and ask every woman in the United States if she wants to testify against Judge Kavanaugh. It's only fair, Kevin. If we don't question every woman in the U.S., it won't be a fair and balanced inquiry for the Democrats. We'll unleash every FBI agent and show those Republicans the nerve they have to think they can put someone on our Supreme Court. It's the only fair thing, Kevin.
Liberty Linda, you're on to something, and I want you to react to what the president said. And I can remember Patriot Ray saying this for years on the radio. We want someone who's going to speak like we do, to speak our language. And who is Senator Blumenthal to go after anybody's credibility when the president accurately points out that he's a liar? Let's take a listen.
How about Blumenthal? Da Nang Blumenthal. We call him Da Nang Blumenthal. For 15 years as the Attorney General of Connecticut, he went around telling war stories. People dying left and right, but my platoon marched forward. He was never in Vietnam. It was a lie.
What do you think, Liberty Linda?
Well, he's not the only one. We've had others high up in our government that have done that. And I think we had one for president here not too long ago, that some of the stories he told.
Well, here's another one. Barack Obama, and you're on point today. You're on point every day, but let's go back to Barack.
I'm never facetious, though.
Let's go back to Barack Obama.
Okay.
He couldn't pass an FBI background check. Barack Obama, because of his ties with the radicals, with Bill Ayers, with whomever else, with the Weather Underground, he could not become an FBI agent. So all these Democrats that are talking about an FBI background investigation, where, Obama, and remember they bragged about it, he couldn't get a security clearance unless he was the president. Why are people bringing that up?
Have we cleared up if he's even born in the United States? I think that's one of the reasons why.
Be careful.
President Trump today.
Well, be careful. You'll get us into trouble on that one.
Okay, well, we never get into trouble here on the Kevin Miller Show.
I'm with you.
And I never get facetious. But this morning, sometimes we see what's going on in our government, and we just have to stop and go with the other side.
Well,
Those Republicans are just going too far to think they can put someone on our Supreme Court.
But no, you're right about that. And here's another one. This is what I love about the president.
I'd like to find out who leaked the papers. Was it Senator Feinstein? Because certainly her body language was not exactly very good when they asked her that question. So I would like to find out, as part of it, who leaked the papers? Which Democrat leaked the papers?
And like Terry said, you remember Hillary was dodging bullets when she landed at Sarajevo, and then they show the pictures and she's out there waving.
Yeah, right. Well, we really don't know what's going on today, especially in this case. We don't know what's behind it. We have too many questions, and it's just getting so out of hand that we have to just step back and be facetious. We have to step back and look the other way. That's why I called in this morning and said the things that I just said. We have to leash every FBI agent on every woman here and question everyone. It's only fair and balanced for those Democrats. We need to help them out. They need help out in any way we can, Kevin.
Oh, you're a scamp there, Liberty Linda. We appreciate you.
I'm just a little angry this morning after everything that's been going on. But one thing we know for sure is you're the best, Kevin. We love you.
Well, I love you, Liberty Linda, and really, I'm just trying to reflect the good works of the Treasure Valley.
Don't we have some of the greatest people in the Treasure Valley? I mean,
we do.
They're the best.
We do. Liberty Linda, thank you.
Definitely can say that. Thank you, Kevin. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Did you ever think a Republican, a Democrat would, but a Republican would ever say this?
Did you leak the document? What? No. No. I didn't leak. Well, wait 1 minute. Did we leak? No, we didn't leak it.
That's why we got to get the president to Idaho. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
I don't think he did. Okay. Look, here's what. I'm just saying, I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay?
Right.
It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, I never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. I've just, for whatever reason. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst.
That is the president yesterday announcing the new trade agreement. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO.
You know, I've been going from day one. I've been from long before I got to office. You've been doing it. It's almost became, I think for me, it's like a part of my job description to handle this crap.
Well, we'll see how the Republicans handle it. Mitch McConnell says that there will be a vote very soon. By the way, poor Mitch McConnell, he was hassled in the airport. People surrounded him.
So will our Democratic colleagues listen to this expert opinion, although it conflicts with their political mission? Don't hold your breath.
So there you have it. Mitch McConnell is at an airport getting ready to leave, and all of a sudden the mob rule comes out. Now, this is a very important point in the founding of our great republic, that you had mob rule running wild. The founding fathers, particularly Alexander Hamilton, feared mob rule. That's why you have the Electoral College. That's why you have every state equal in the Senate. That's why you have a republic and not a true democracy. And what we're seeing fermented by the media, urged on by the Democrats, is mob rule. There's going to be a time where Republicans won't be able to go out and have a nice dinner or a lunch anywhere. That's really what it comes down to. That's what the Democratic Party is about, because they can't win logically. So what do? It's like Liberal Steve. If you ever notice when we have an argument, when he used to be on the program, he would always switch gears, and that's what the libs do. Let's just have a debate on the issues. Well, they always lose because they're always misinformed, and they always go to emotion. More with Mitch McConnell next. First, traffic and weather together, 107.5 FM. Coming up, Fox News on your radio, on KIDO Talk Radio. Plus, much more of the president, and you'll hear from Judy, whatever her name is, Swetnick. Last night, NBC had an interview with her, and NBC caught her saying one thing in a written statement, sworn under oath, and backtracking. Now, where's her credibility? Where are people challenging her? Believe it or not, it's NBC News.